Hello, it's Rabbi Rubinstein here in New York, standing in for Rabbi Jamnik with a 6-minute Devar Torah in this week's Parsha, which is Parshat Vaetchanan, the second Parsha in the book of Devarim and Deuteronomy. There's, of course, tons to say, and 6 minutes only allows me to focus on one thing, but let's make it an important thing. I have here my little stone chumash, and it starts off. I'll read to you the English to speed things up. I implored Hashem at this time. So Moshe is reviewing the fact that he wanted more than anything else, desperately, to go into the land of Israel. And Hashem says no. But the way Hashem says no is really remarkable. So I'll read a little bit further on. But Hashem became angry with me. So if you've got that in front of you, if you want to reference it, page 958, Parshat Vaetchanan, and it's verse 26. So let me read to you the Hebrew here, just to prove to you that I am fully qualified rabbi. Hashem and Hashem was angry with me because of you. V'lo shama elai, didn't listen to me. V'yom Hashem elai, and Hashem said to me, Ravloch. Ravloch. So Hashem's no is not no, it's Ravloch. It's enough for you. Now, here is a theme that repeats itself all the way through the Chumash. If you find words, significant phrases, which are repeated in a different context, in a different story, that generally indicates they connect to that other story where they first appeared. And this Ravloch, this expression, that relates to a very well-known incident, the rebellion of somebody called Korach. And when Korach rebels and the Leviim rebel against Moshe Rabbeinu, he tries everything to diffuse the confrontation, but eventually says to them, Rav Lechem, you've got enough. You've got enough. Rav Loch, it's enough for you. Rav Lechem, it's enough for you. Your role, you've already got enough. Hashem says to him, you've got enough. Why do you want to go into the land of Israel? But in using the same phrase, he's pressing a button. And the button is, remember that that's what you said to them, and that's why I'm saying this to you. Now, this takes us to a very, very intriguing aspect of Moshe Rabbeinu, but also an aspect of ourselves as well. And that is as follows. You see, in the fight with Moshe Rabbeinu and Korach, 100% Korach was wrong, but it was not clear 100%. There was a famous Hasidic Rabbi who said that he'd been reincarnated 3 times. The second time he was reincarnated, he said, was one of the Jews in the desert at the time of the conflict between Moshe and Korach. And his Hasidim said to him, you, of course, were on Moshe Rabbeinu's side. He said, no. They were appalled. You were on Korach's side? No. I was neutral. But you should know, to have been able to maintain a perspective of neutrality in that fight, that so very, very carefully balanced fight, that was to be in a very, very high spiritual level. It wasn't at all clear that Korach was wrong. So when Moshe dismisses it and says you've got enough, even though ultimately he was wrong, but there was something in his approach which was noble and was worthy of salute and recognition. Moshe says to him, you've got enough. A Jew should never think, when it comes to his relationship with God, that he has enough. He or she should want a little bit more, and then after that, a little bit more again, and to keep on going. Famously, the Medrash in Koheles in chapter 1, if you look in chapter 1:5, says that no human being exits this world with half of his desires fulfilled. That doesn't mean desires to get a new Tesla, although I wouldn't mind one. It means what you wanted to achieve for yourself. You should always want to know more and to be more. So in that aspect, Moshe Rabbeinu says to him, you've got enough. And that's why the same phrase was used regarding him. Never say that to a Jew. A Jew should always want more, and you should salute that. I remember there was a huge fight in Manchester in England, which is where I used to live. One of these horrible Jewish communal fights, and it was very, very bitter in the Orthodox community, in the Haredi community. Rabbi Matthias Solomon, who's now the Mashgiach of Lakewood Yeshiva, came and spoke in the show that I used to daven in. And one of the greatest antagonists of this particular fissure in the community was there. And he spoke for, 45 minutes. And then just at the end, he insinuated, he dropped in a little hint about this fight. And he said, and if you're in a conflict with somebody else, well, you obviously think that you're right and they're wrong. But that's just it. They're just wrong, right? Ask yourself a simple question. If you really believe that your perspective is the right one, the godly one, the one that Hashem will approve of, then this poor fellow has simply got that wrong. So ask yourself the following question. Do you ever daven for him and his party and his group? After all, they're Jews who simply got it wrong. Aren't you concerned for them? Or do you just want to see them fail? You should always look for the good in somebody. And when Moshe omits to see that in Korach, then Hashem has to say, I want to remind you of something. This was a little mistake you made. Always look for the good when it comes to another Jew.